Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Gratitude Shift Wednesday. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. It is Gratitude Shift Wednesday. Just waiting for um, the link to log into the group. It is Gratitude Shift Wednesday. Good morning. Good morning. While we wait, you already know to drop a word in the chat for me. Um, that one word, just describing how you feel. Good morning. Good morning. And a good morning it is. Drop a word in the chat describing how you feel. Good morning. Listen, it's Wednesday. It is Wednesday, you guys. They call it Hump Day Wednesday, right? So here's the thing. I want you to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, you guys. This is our time, right? You already know, no pressure, no judgment, just our presence. Here at Project L.I.F E, will we turn obstacles into opportunities? No, will we turn theory into practice? And today we're going to talk about obstacles, seeing our obstacles, not stop seeing our obstacles as setbacks and start seeing them as setups, right? I do feel like that we have to truly start embracing every aspect of life. But before we get into that conversation, I want you to drop a word in the chat for me. How are you feeling today? How are you feeling today? Drop a word in the chat for me. How are you feeling this morning? Good morning, everybody. How are you feeling? Just one word. And if you don't want to drop it, just say it to yourself, okay? So I was saying that I really think that we have to start embracing the obstacles that come in our life. I remember when we were little, me and my brother, I don't know if y'all remember this show. It was like, it was like on Nickelodeon. And you had to like go through these obstacle courses. And me and my brother were close, in age. And we always wanted to go on that show, right? You have to go through this slime and drive, slide down these slides, and you have to find a flag and like pass the flag off. And like one of my biggest dreams was to go through like that obstacle course and win. Um, but somewhere in life, right, like that desire to challenge yourself, and find the flags in life, whatever the flag is, right? If the flag is, uh, you know, embracing our desires, getting into the right relationships, having the right bodies, right? We in some way turned off, right? This, I don't want the obstacle. I want the road that just takes me right there, right? Like I want to get in I want to get into my car and I want to just drive from here to here. Matter of fact, I don't even want to drive. I just want to snap my finger and it happens. And the thing about obstacles is that they're not there to like block you, right? They're not like a block sign, like this road is closed, right? Pep said he's feeling nostalgic. Okay. Um, so, the obstacle is not there to block you, but I think that that's what we hear, right? Double Dare. That's what it was called, bro. It was called Double Dare. Yes, me and my brother wanted to go on Double Dare. So the obstacle is not there to stop you, right? That obstacle course in Double Dare, right, wasn't there to stop the kids. It was there to make the kids think, right? To challenge them, right? To push them hard to, have them slip and fall and get messy and all of that. So when they won the prize, you guys, it was like, yes, I did it, right? And I think that we see obstacles as red flags, as roadblocks, right? And this is just not true. So far this week, listen, we've unpacked the stories we tell ourselves about supports. Okay. We've talked about the triggers that make us resist, right? So the triggers that make us resist the support. And today we're going to shift our focus to obstacles, right? Not as roadblocks, you guys, but as tools for growth. All right. Um, So today's quote is by Ryan Holiday, and this quote says, "The obstacle in the path becomes the path. Never forget, within every obstacle is an opportunity to improve our condition, you guys." So what if the very thing standing in your way was actually the thing preparing you for your next level? Right. What if your obstacles wasn't happening to you, but happening for you? When I was going through life, I would hear people say, "Be mindful what you pray for," right? Because if you pray for wisdom, then God may send you a challenging situation that you would have to develop the wisdom to get past, right? Be careful if you pray for like love, because then God will send like the most unlovable people that you desire, so that you can learn to love them, right? And so I think about an obstacle like that. Like, we want some things, but we also have to build our capacity to be able to, and not just our capacity, guys, our emotions, our spirituality, our physical man, right? Like our intellectual person, to not just get it, you guys, but to keep it. I think we're so used to getting a job, but what about keeping a job? That job that once was your blessing, that relationship that once made you happy, now it's like your challenge, right? So what changed? Did the other person change, or did you not allow the obstacles that and the challenges that the relationship created to grow you in a way that you could sustain whatever the relationship is? And remember, I just feel like we're in a relationship with everything, right? I'm in a relationship with my clothes. I'm in a relationship with my hair. I'm in a relationship with my car, right? With the food that I eat. Like, we're not just in relationship with people, we're in relationship with our jobs and everything around us, right? And so if we want to, in some things we are in healthier relationships with, right? So, I know that my kid's grandfather, like, you can't walk too close to his car because he don't want you to scratch it, right? So, he is in like, hey, I'm very protective of this vehicle, right? And so there's a lot of times where that we have these healthier relationships with certain things in our life, and then certain things in our life we're just like, but here's the thing, we're in relationship with everything. All right, so this week is all about shifting from isolation, right, to expansion, right? Recognizing that the support doesn't just comfort us, right? It challenges us, it stretches us, it strengthens us for our next level, you guys. And when I talk about next level, I'm not even talking about like next level, like you going from the, we're moving on up and we're going from the 1 bedroom apartment to the something in the sky, right? No. Sometimes the next level is just the next chapter of my life. Whatever that chapter is going to be is my level up. And I also think that when we think about next level, we thinking about big and grand, but it's just like, no, what if your next level is today, right? Your next level from yesterday was making it through today, right? And so our obstacles are there sometimes simply to just listen, get us prepared for whatever that next level is, right? So on Monday, we talked about the stories we tell ourselves about supports, right? Many of us grew up believing that asking for help is a weakness, and that we should be able to handle everything alone. All right. On Tuesday, we explored the triggers, right? The situations, the people, the environments that make us resist help and push us away from the very support, you guys, that we need. We talked about how triggers reveal where we need to grow. Sometimes these triggers isn't a person, it isn't the environment, right? It's the challenge itself, a roadblock, something that's forcing you to shift how you operate. Okay. So, so let me tell you about Marcus. Okay. Marcus worked hard, but every time he was up for a promotion, something always seemed to get in the way. He started believing things like, I guess I'm just not one of the lucky ones, right? Maybe I'm not cut out for leadership. He started holding back, staying in his comfort zone, taking on less responsibility, you guys, playing small and playing small to stay safe, right? But one day, Marcus realized something. Every obstacle he faced was actually preparing him for the role he wanted, you guys. The projects he had to renew, they made him more detail oriented. The feedback he received, it just pushed him to refine his leadership skills, you guys. The rejection, it made him more resilient. And when he finally got promoted, he was more prepared than ever because the obstacle had built his capacity, you guys. And I can say this for myself. Marcus is, somebody gave me the permission to share that. But listen, I can remember like writing a paper or filling out for an application or whatever and not getting it, or even turning in a resume, you guys, to a job that I absolutely wanted. And then when I pulled the resume out again and I looked at it, I'm like, that don't even sound right. I said that. Like I missed words, I said things wrong, right? And each time that rejection came, it gave me another opportunity to take a second look at the resume to really, now I really like, oh no, I remember I made this mistake this last time. Like, let me take my time. Let me read through everything. Let me have a computer read it to me just in case, right? So each time it was refining me. In my business is the same way. In life is the same way, right? Now, here is where we take it deeper, right? Because sometimes the very reasons we don't seek support is because we see struggles as something to overcome alone, you guys, instead of something that might actually require community, guidance, and mentorship to get through. Listen, our old thinking says if I'm struggling, it means I'm failing, right? But if our new way of thinking could be, if I'm struggling, maybe it's a sign I need more support, not more struggle. So I'm gonna go back to Marcus and myself. Now, when I started college, I always started my sentences with and my mom was married to the great Michael Marsh. I love him so much. That's like my second dad. And uh I had went to Mike and I was like, I'm getting all this like these red marks. I'm getting marked down. Like, can you review my paper for me? And it's all gonna make sense. And so he would review my paper. And then when he gave me back my paper, like instead of saying and, he recommended like moreover, and instead of saying but, he was like however, and me reading how he would write that or recommend that, it actually helped me to speak better, to communicate better, and to eventually become a better writer, right? So instead of me seeing myself as a failure, because these were classes that I failed, y'all, because I did fail out of college a couple of times and had to reapply because my writing ability wasn't up to standard, right? And then I had to seek this help from my what was that? My stepdad to really assist me with that, right? But listen, most people see obstacles as a sign to retreat. When I got those E's on my paper, you guys, I could have retreated and said, college just ain't for me. I'm just gonna keep going to school. I'm just gonna keep doing hair because I make good money with hair, right? Um, so most of us see obstacles as a sign to retreat. But what if the obstacle, right, was actually pointing you towards the kind of support you needed, right? What if the challenge you're facing isn't here to stop you, it's here to push you towards the help you need? So I'm gonna go to Marcus. Listen, on Monday and let's talk about Marcus. On Monday and Tuesday, we talked about beliefs and triggers that keep us from asking for help and expanding our capacity. So now let's go back to Marcus's story. So Marcus believed that obstacles meant he wasn't enough. So he never asked for guidance. He never sought mentorship. He never let anyone help him. He thought success had to be earned, you guys, through struggle. But what changed? What changed? Marcus realized that the reason he kept hitting blocks wasn't because he wasn't capable, you guys, but because he was trying to do everything alone. He was trying to do everything alone. And the moment he started seeking the right supports, his obstacles stop feeling like dead ends and start really feeling like stepping stones, you guys. So here's the truth. Your biggest obstacle might not require you to work harder, right? They might require you to work smarter by seeking the right people, the right strategies, the right support system to really help you navigate them. All right. So for me, um, uh, so when I had to go to Mike to ask him to write my paper, now mind you, I had a level of success, right? Like I was making good money. I was, sitting on community boards and things like that when I started school. So it was like, what you this how you write? I didn't really want to expose that part of me. Um, but I had to, right? I had to really seek out support. When the business failed, you guys, it was like, I can't do, like, listen, you in school for business psychology, you have a master's degree in clinical social work. Like, you need to figure this out your own. Like, no, I am very subjective to this situation. I'm taking it very personal. I need an objective view. I need to go hire support and accountability partners and things like that because I know that what's got me here won't take me there. And I need this second set of eyes, you guys. So obstacles reveal, listen, where we need support. The struggles you keep running into aren't random, you guys. They are pointing you towards something you need to learn, someone you need to connect with, or a shift you need to make. All right. The right support will challenge you, you guys. The best support isn't the ones that comfort you. It's the ones that help you grow through what you're feeling. And sometimes support isn't about taking the obstacle away, you guys. It's about helping you build strength, right? Build the strength to overcome it, right? Growth requires a support system. Growth requires a support system. We don't evolve. We don't evolve um, in isolation. Every good leader, innovator, and successful person has a network of support that holds them accountable and helps them navigate their obstacles. Listen, the best CEO has advisors. Listen, the best basketball players have coaches, you know. The singers, they have a vocal coach, you know. So even though we can be great at our skill, it doesn't mean we don't need the support of other people, you guys. We still need that support. Remember, like I said, the seat needs the four legs to hold it up. And we need people in our life that's holding us up. And then we also need to be the leg for someone else. All right. Okay, so almost choked. So Marcus thought the obstacles were proof that he wasn't good enough, but in reality, they were training him for his next level. What if your obstacles aren't stopping you? They're shaping you. Obstacles don't mean you're failing, you guys. They mean that you're being called to expand. And expansion requires a foundation of support. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down one challenge you've been trying to push through alone that might actually require more support. All right. So in the framework, stop it now, you guys. Oh, if that made sense, put a one in the chat for me. If that made sense, put a one in the chat for me. All right. So in the stop it now framework, right? O stands for obstacles. We talk about obstacles every Wednesday, and the obstacle is truly just connected to whatever the theme is, because everything that we talk about, everything we do, it's going to present an obstacle. And we tend to only see one side. We tend to only see the the negative side by design, you guys, because we are meant for survival, right? We are truly created to survive. So we are looking down versus looking up. That's the natural state. So we can give ourselves grace for that, right? In each situation is double-sided. How do I know this? Because it's a universal law. For every action, you guys, there's an equal and opposite reaction. What that means is that for every negative thing I do, right, quote unquote, negative thing I do, there is a positive response to it and there's a negative response to it. The negative response will be the equal thing and the positive response will be the opposite of that. Guess what? For every positive thing I do, you guys, There's going to be a negative response and a positive response, right? Again, positive meaning um, the positive outcome would be the matching, and then the negative outcome would be the contracting. So listen, obstacles are there, and guess what? Opportunities. All right. So here's the thing. Here's the truth. Your biggest struggles aren't designed to be what? Blocks to you. They're designed to build you. That's the opposite of that, right? And sometimes we only see the block and we don't see the build, right? And if we can just see the block and see the block and see the build, right? And then choose which one we're going to do, I think that will make a world of difference for us, you guys. Listen, our old mindset, if something is hard, maybe it's not meant for me, right? This is a very fixed mindset. If I wasn't born with it, if I'm not good at it, then it just wasn't meant for me, right? Very fixed. But a growth mindset says, if something is hard, maybe I'm being stretched for something greater. So today we're flipping the script. We're shifting from why is this happening to me to what is this preparing me for? All right. So obstacles aren't signs to quit, you guys. They're just proof that you're in motion. If you wasn't moving forward, you wouldn't face resistance, you guys. And what this means is that the very thing you're struggling with right now might be the thing that's making you stronger, sharper, and more prepared for your breakthrough. How many of you guys, and I want you to put a heart in the chat, you was going through a struggling situation, and you got through it. And after getting through it, you look back at it and you was like, I'm so glad that happened because I learned dot, dot, dot. I'm so glad that happened because it allowed me to see dot, dot, dot. How many of us actually had those type of revelations? But then when we face another obstacle, how soon we forget? How soon we forget that the last obstacle that I was presented with, I got through it and I actually learned from it. And because life is constantly giving us lessons, you guys, there's no time that we're going to stop learning, right? So each obstacle that we come to is teaching us more and more things. I have an 85-year-old grandmother that still is facing obstacles that she has to learn. I have a 74-year-old dad, right? Happy belated birthday. His birthday was yesterday. That's still learning, right? How to become, right? For the 74-year-old man, I have 60-year-old clients, 50-year-old clients that's still learning what it means to thrive in their life, you guys. So the obstacle is always going to be there. So that's not the problem. It's how we think about the obstacle that is the problem. Listen, you are not stuck. You're growing. The challenge in front of you isn't a dead end, it's a training ground, right? Life is a training ground. So imagine waking up and knowing that nothing can truly stop you. Nothing can truly stop you. What if you took on that mindset that, like, nothing can really stop me? Because even when things go wrong, they're still working for my good. Right? What if you just thought about that? Just getting up in the morning. Anything bad that's happened to me today, or challenging or whatever, you know what? I'm a count it all joy because it's working for my good. That's what happens when you start seeing obstacles as a part of the process and not a problem, you guys. And that's what happens when we start seeing people as a part of our growth and not a part of our problem. And I think that, and again, I'm not saying that it's not people in your life that's not good for you. That's not what I'm saying at all, right? I'm saying that maybe, just maybe, if we step back and look at ourselves and say, why is this person in my life? How are they serving me? Right? Are they serving the lower functions of me? Right? So do I have them there so I can stay comfortable here? Right? Because as long as they acting up and acting silly and doing that stuff, so much of my energy, right, is going to help assist and codependent and be codependent with them, that I have a reason to not show up for myself, right? Because truly, if I manually went off on autopilot and went into manual gear, I would start to pull people into my life that challenge me, that grow me. And guess what? That's uncomfortable. I work with women who, want a successful man, want a successful man. I work with men who want uh highly intelligent, beautiful women. And when they get them, you guys, they're like, I just feel so intimidated. Like, I just like she just too much. He just too much. I just feel right. And so they would, even though they desire that, even though they want that, it's like having that in their presence, right? It brings up stuff for them. And I'm like, that's a good thing. Yay, yay. Right. So now it's kind of like this purging. You're in a space now. You remember those push-ups that we used to eat when we were little, right? It's pushing this thing up out of you, right? And now we can explore. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to guess. It's like real world type of situations because now this challenge is exposing some deeper parts. This person is exposing some deeper parts of you that everybody that you've met thus far hasn't pushed deep enough. Okay. Listen, one of my clients, used to believe that setbacks meant that she wasn't good enough, you guys. But when she started looking at them as preparations instead of punishments, when she started to look at them as preparations versus punishments, you guys, she started showing up differently. She didn't shrink when things got hard. She just leaned in. And guess what? She didn't just overcome those obstacles. She really became an unstoppable force. Guess what? In her relationships, in her job, right? And I'm not saying that today, when we meet this particular client, when we meet, that she's not going to tell me about an obstacle, right? But in that session, we're going to work through it because she has now an unstoppable mind. Listen, studies have shown that people who reframe obstacles as learning opportunities experience, guess what, higher levels of resilience and long-term success. According to a study published by the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, individuals who develop a growth mindset, you guys, listen, and a growth mindset, remember, is seeing the obstacle as an opportunity. Guess what? They outperform those who avoided obstacles due to fear. And guess how many things that we are not doing because we are being fearful, right? Listen, your obstacles are either going to break you or build you. They're going to keep you stuck, right? Or they're going to be the luck in your life that turns and transforms you. You guys, you get to decide which role you're going to go through, right? So tell me this, what's one obstacle? What is one obstacle you're facing right now that could actually be an opportunity in disguise, you guys? Think about that. Like, man, I just met this guy. He's challenging me. I just got this job. It's challenging me. My kid just got this. It's challenging me, right? Maybe this is the opportunity for me to go get a therapist. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to seek out help. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to stay and watch, the life lessons one, right? Let's start to really look at these obstacles as opportunities, you guys. If that makes sense, do me a favor, put a heart in the chat for me. Put a heart in the chat for me. All right. Listen, obstacles are preparation for growth. So we're going to go into our Bible wisdom, right? And remember, we're using these Bible principles and promises, right? Because the Bible is not just a book about religion, you guys. It is a book about promises, prophecies, parables, and patterns, right? And it's one of the oldest books alive, you guys. And a lot of times we lack the language, we lack the metaphors. We just have these gaps in our life, which is natural, because even when you get in a car, right, there's a blind spot, right, that you can't see. And so the whole idea of bringing biblical wisdom into life lessons is to really get us to start to lean on something other than our own way of thinking, right? To really expand and in a sense get this necessary support from biblical wisdom and from a quote, right? All right, so James 1, 2, and 3. This is our principles. for today. Listen, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kind. Listen, because you know that He's testing that the testing of your faith produces, listen, perseverance. Consider it pure joy, you guys, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kind, because knowing that the testing of your faith produces, listen, perseverance. Listen, trials aren't just hardships, you guys. They are training. They are training for us. So faith grows through our resistance. Just like muscles grow through weightlifting, your capacity grows when you push through difficulties, you guys. When we push through difficulties, all right? And asking for help and the necessary supports, guess what? That is difficult to some people. And the biggest reason why it's difficult is because, one, we've been told that it's difficult, right? We've been told that it's difficult to ask for help. And guess what? It's some people that we know that's gonna ask. Listen, it is not difficult at all. You got $1, you got $3. Can we talk? It's like it just comes out of them. And it's something about that can sometimes irritate us, right? Like you always asking for help, right? You always asking for help. And I want you to look at them like, man, they kind of got a lot of confidence, right? Because they just ask for help. And sometimes it challenges us because then it's like, do I say yes or do I say no? But sometimes we need to take on that confidence, right? We need to go through the difficulty that our mind is telling us about asking and seeking help. And a lot of times it's like we don't really want to be exposed. We don't really want to be exposed. Hey, Mariah, we don't want to be exposed. We don't want to be judged and things like that. So we would rather suffer in silence, you guys. And we don't have to. We don't have to suffer in silence. So listen, what is our promise verse for today? No discipline seems pleasant at the time, you guys, but painful. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, you guys, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. That's Hebrews 12 and 11, you guys. Listen, the promise is that no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but it's painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. Listen, no discipline, meaning nothing that we're doing to be disciplined or loving on ourselves, right? Because another word for discipline is love, right? That's not pleasant when we're doing it, you guys. It's actually a painful experience. It's going contradictory to what I really want to be doing. But it said later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. What does that mean? That means, like the example I said earlier, you ever been through a trial and then afterwards you like, man, I'm so glad I went through that because it taught me this. I learned that. I learned this, right? And sometimes guess what we'll do? We'll take the things we learn and instead of using it to create the foundation for us to go in and do it different and use that, sometimes we'll take what we learn, you guys, and make it a reason to not, right? I learned that you just really can't trust people. So I'm going to stop talking to people. I learned that, you can't, in learning from a contracting place like that, it's not growing you, right? So it's like, what did you learn that you actually can apply in your future that can actually connect and expand you? That's what a lesson is. A lesson is there to expand and grow you, not to keep you stuck in a corner, right? Even the most experienced professionals, right? So my as a therapist, I went and then I got a specialty in marriage and family therapy, and I got specialty in school social work, right? So even when we become more specialized in something, it's not for the contracting, it's for my knowledge to expand in this particular area, right? So as a doctor of psychology, my specialty is on consulting businesses, right? So, and that is to be more efficient with helping businesses grow, right, and thrive. It's not to contract me. So when we're thinking about our lessons as like, see, that's a reason for me to cut you off, or like not do this thing, then that's not a lesson. That's a validation. You're using it to validate your current belief. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, put a 2 in the chat for me. If that makes sense, and it's like an aha, like, oh yeah, right? See, I told you you can't trust people. And now that's not a lesson, that's a validation. You're using that to validate what you already believe. The lesson may be, man, I really need to be different so I can attract different situations. I really need to trust, right? Trust my inner self, because I knew in the beginning that I felt a little off about that. Man, I really need somebody to help me as I move forward in my career, because, I'm noticing that I'm getting stuck in places, right? These are different ways of thinking that's really helping us to learn differently. All right. So growth, listen, growth doesn't always feel good in the moment, but in the end, it strengthens and equips you. The obstacles you face now will produce results that bless you later. Listen, the obstacles you face now and getting the necessary supports that you need, right? If it's with your taxes, with your credit score, with your with how you see the world, things like that. When you go get help to assist you in those things, guess what? They produce results that bless you later. All right. So here's the key takeaway from that. Obstacles aren't here to break you, you guys. They are here to build your endurance. They're here to build your wisdom, and they're here to strengthen you for the future. All right. And here's how these verses really tie into necessary supports, right? So James 1, 2, and 3, right? Your obstacles are strengthening you. Listen, consider it pure joy when you face a trial. Let's be real. When we face struggles, listen, joy isn't the first thing that we feel, right? Obstacles are frustrating. They make us question ourselves, our path, and even our progress. But what if we started seeing obstacles not as setbacks, but as opportunities for something greater? How can we connect this to our session today? Our obstacles force us to grow in ways that we wouldn't have chose, right, on our own, right? It kind of like, oh, this roadblock, I got to go over here and collect all of these things. It reminds me of, again, me and my brother used to play Mario Brothers when we was little. And you remember how you can find these little areas where you needed coins, and you would, hit some of the bricks and stuff. And then like this vine would grow, and then you would go off and you would be able to like collect unlimited lives and all of that stuff. To me, that's how I see an obstacle. Oh, I get to collect some more information, right, that I may need in the future. All right. So every challenge teaches us something about our resilience, our blind spots, and where we need to lean and learn, where we need to lean on for support. The right support systems isn't just there to make us comfortable, you guys. They're there to push us through what is uncomfortable, right? Think about working out. Again, your muscles, they are challenged. They're ripped apart. You get sore the next day, right? This resistance is actually there to really build you, right? So the same applies to life. Your obstacles are resistance training for your capacity, all right? And guess what? I heard this lady say, and I think we said it. I think I posted it in the group when she talked about just talking about it, right? Isn't the obstacle itself? She said, like, imagine going to the gym, talking about working out, talking about this thing, right? You're not building muscle, you're not building capacity. It's in the actual doing, right? It's in the actual, listen, I'm finna go have this conversation. I'm going to go talk to this person. I'm going to go apply for this job. I'm going to write the business plan. I'm going to date different people, right? Those are when, again, like that push or pop, that is when we're exposed, not sometimes just talking about it, which is again why in Project Life we have those labs, because as we're experiencing life, right, I'm being exposed. I'm being exposed. Like I'm seeing more of me. And when I see that, I want to be like a turtle and go back in my shell, because that's a lot. Oh, that's just too much. Like I know that this is the way I should go. But you know what? I'm feeling like maybe I'm not ready to grow like that. Okay. Listen, you don't get stronger by avoiding your challenges. Listen, you get stronger by learning how to move through them with the right support. All right. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. That was the scripture. Growth isn't comfortable, you guys. After asking for help isn't always easy. Letting people stretch you, letting people challenge you, right? That isn't fun, you guys. I'm just being honest. That's just not fun. But discipline, though, the willingness to keep going, to seek support, to embrace discomfort, you guys, produces peace. It produces clarity, and it creates breakthroughs, right? How does this connect? Because the discomfort of an obstacle isn't here to break you guys, it's here to build you. And sometimes we feel like a struggle is actually an invitation. Sometimes we feel like a struggle is actually an invitation to step into. Sometimes a struggle is actually an invitation to step into a bigger version of ourselves. You guys, hey, Dewana, how you doing? How you doing, love? When we stop resisting growth, guess what? We recognize that the right support system isn't here to remove our struggles, you guys. It's here to help us rise through them. Let me say that again. The right support system isn't there to take away the pain or to take away the obstacle or to make you not feel that way. That is a lie. But what the right support system does is remind you of who you were created to be, and that you will get through this. You know, I'm a parent, and my son, he broke his leg. I mean, not broke his leg, but he tore his kneecap. Listen, it was nothing I could do to help my son heal his kneecap, right? He go to surgery, he put it in. But the support system, as a support system, we have to remind him constantly in his pain, in his dis-ease, that you will get through this, right? Good morning, Dale. That you will get through this, that your knee, even in his, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play basketball again. I don't know, it's like, no, you will. Matter of fact, that knee going to be stronger as a consequence of this. You're going to go to therapy, right? So we couldn't take the pain away. We couldn't just heal the knee magically, right? But what we could do is remind him that his body was created to heal that very thing that had gotten ripped, right? And guess what? I think his last game he made 21 points. This is first year back. And then at the time before that, I think he had 18 points and 18 rebounds. Now it took him a minute, right? Before where he was just two shots, really wasn't doing anything because he was still nervous. But again, being the right support system, we reminded him like, hey, you are skillful. This knee won't break. It remind me of the movie too. Um, with Queen Latifah and Common, and he went back to play. And when he went back to play, he was kind of like, and she stopped it. She stopped and went up to him when they got a timeout, and she told him like, listen, this knee won't break you. And that is what I want to remind you. If you don't take anything from today's session, I want you to know that that obstacle that's in front of you guys and that you're needing help and assistance for, the help and assistance is there, listen, to remind you that this obstacle, it won't break you. It's giving you a different seat at the table, a different way to look at it, right? Encouraging him helps him to remove doubt. Exactly. Or to help him to recognize that, okay, I see how you feel that way. To add to that, D, I see how you feel that way. We will all be doubtful. So a lot of times necessary support is not there to even sometimes take our doubts away, D. Sometimes it's there for us to hold a space so that we can feel the doubt and have the hope. And I think that we live in like a but type of society. I'm feeling hopeful, but I have this doubt too. And shout out to my coach, um, Coach Lou, right? So she really taught me how to live in the end, AND, right? Because I was I'm happy, but I do got this thing going on, or, I'm fulfilled, but I do have this. And what that was making my brain do, you guys, was choose. Okay. So, or reduce. And so she was like, Sheila, you don't have to live in the but. You can live in the and. Both of these things can exist. Like a negative and a positive can exist. So a part of having these necessary supports, you guys, is that life reigns on the just and unjust. So I don't care how good of a person you are. I don't care how great, of or how bad, right, of a person you are, right? It reigns on the just and unjust. And that we're going to have good days and bad days. And for some reason, we feel like I should only have good days if I'm a good person. And if something bad's happening, then, I don't know why. Maybe I'm being punished. But here's the truth. It rains on the just and unjust. We're gonna have good days and bad days, but when I have the necessary supports, remember the two is better than one, the scripture that we talked about on Monday. Listen, when I have the supports, I can then sit in sometimes my doubt, because my support is reminding me, right? It's pulling me up out of it. Hey, you know who you are, don't you? You know that like this too shall pass, right? And so it's giving me space for both of those to exist. So I don't have to run from my doubt. You don't have to run from your doubt. You don't have to run from your disease. My son didn't have to numb himself from the pain. We just expanded, right? We can expand this to an and situation. You're in pain. You can't work or walk on that knee now. And it will be a time where you'll be able to walk on it again, right? And you still are healing and things like that. And like I said, if you don't get nothing out this session, understand that the obstacle is there to truly support who you are, right? To really help you. And, right, it's going to be challenging and it's going to be comfortable in that process. All right. So James 1, 2, and 3 teaches us obstacles aren't punishments, you guys. They're training for our perseverance. And if we've been taught from a very disciplinary way, like when something go wrong, we think, what did I do wrong? We take it personal. When somebody is mean, like, what did I do to make them do that? Right? We're taking ownership of a lot of negative consequences, or a lot of the contracting things that's happening to our life, when it's just lifing, you guys, because obstacles are not punishments. Their training for perseverance, right? And then Hebrews 12 and 11 reminds us that growth is uncomfortable, you guys, before it's transformational. So together, these verses really show us that obstacles are meant to push us towards the support, the discipline, and the strengths that we need to really reach our next level. Okay. So I want you to think about, what is that one obstacle that you've been resisting that might actually be an opportunity for growth with the right supports. All right. Drop a heart in the chat if that made sense. Listen, because these verses are a reminder that God isn't just a God that instantly fixes us. He is a God that equips, that is equipping, that is strengthening, and that is expanding us. And obstacles aren't proving your worth, right? They're preparing you for what's next. All right. All right. I like that. I like that. That felt good to me. I hope it felt good to you. All right. So now we're going to go to our transformational tool. So our transformational tool today, which is our obstacle audit, right, is really what is your activity for today? All right. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to identify an obstacle you're currently facing. Again, I ain't talking about the big, double dare scene, or we're talking about something big. Maybe it's a little small obstacle, right? Write down the lesson or skills that this challenge is forcing you to develop or deal with. All right. And then commit to shifting your perspective. See this as a training, not a setback. All right. Okay. Listen, for example, the obstacle could be, I'm struggling in my business. The lesson can be that this is teaching me resilience, adaptability, and strategy. And then the shift is that this isn't a failure, it's a part of my progress. All right. Because every obstacle is an opportunity for us to grow. And how will you start to use your obstacles? All right. Um, so our affirmation for today, I want you to repeat after me. Say it out loud if you can, right? Remember, affirmation is not, if you don't believe it, you're going to feel like, that ain't true. And in affirmations, a lot of times, we say them over and over, but we're not really feeling for the feeling of, do I believe that? Because that's what a work is. It's kind of there to push you up and say, do I believe that? And if I don't, is that something I want to believe? And if it is, then what supports do I need to bring into my life so that I can become and believe this? So I am not stuck. Right? Like, yeah, I am not stuck. I am growing. Listen, I'm not stuck. I'm growing. Every obstacle is shaping me into the person I am meant to be. Listen, today's affirmation is I am not stuck. I am growing, and every obstacle is shaping me into the person I am meant to be. Screenshot that and remind yourself of that today and any other day that you would need that reminder. All right. And then today's intention, you guys, really just setting the tone for the day. So when you notice this in your life, you can remind yourself throughout the day that today I choose to see my challenges as opportunities for growth, right? I am being prepared, not punished. So when you come up on a challenging situation, or when something happens, just think about why did that happen? What is that there to teach me? Maybe it's teaching me to be patient. I'm in a line and it's, I'm running late, and the person before me is just like going really slow. And I'm just mad at this person. Like, you only got 6 things. Like, go faster. They looking in their personal, real situation. But maybe that obstacle or that challenge is there because, like, maybe Sheila, you need to be on time. Maybe you need to leave earlier. Maybe you need to not wait to the last minute so you can learn to give grace to a person. So when you find yourself in a challenging situation, choose to see. Today, I choose to see my challenges as an opportunity for growth, and I'm being prepared, not punished, you guys. If today's session, listen, resonated with you, you already know what to do. Drop a fire in the chat and let's celebrate our growth, you guys, together. And remember, if you can shape it in your mind, you can have it in your life. If you're ready to turn your obstacles into opportunities, again, Project Life is where we make that a lifestyle, because at Project Life, guess what we do? We turn theory into what? Yeah, practice, right? Into our daily practice, right? And so we're not just hearing this information, but we're also becoming aware of how often am I applying that? Like, I'm listening to her 40 to 50 minutes a day. How much of what she's actually saying am I practicing, right, in my life? And when I go to practice it, what obstacle is coming up for me? Am I like doubting myself? Am I challenging myself? Like, is it challenging me, right? Is this here to strengthen me? And if it is, maybe I need the necessary support to get through that so that I can get to the other side. And I always say, like, sometimes the energy that we're looking for, the love that we're looking for, the fulfillment that we're looking for, it's in us. It's just on the other side of the task, right? It's on the other side of doing, okay? So our bonus challenge for today is, listen, for the next 24 hours, anything you feel frustrated, anytime you feel frustrated by an obstacle, listen, stop and ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What is this teaching me? And if you want to come back and drop your insight in the comments, please do. Thank you, Roosevelt, for the fire. Thank you, Pep. Thank you, Toto. Thank everybody for joining me on this Wednesday, this gratitude shift Wednesday. I am grateful that you paid me with your attention. That's the first place we pay, is with our attention. I thank you guys for your attention on this mindset shift. This gratitude shift Wednesday. And I am so grateful for you. And I hope that you're grateful for this session. I love you guys. And I will see you tomorrow as we talk about patterns, right? This week is all about necessary supports. And so we're going to talk about patterns tomorrow. Again, I love you. Till later.